Between Lewandowski and Kristi Noem is far more than $40 million, and this is enough to begin to take them down. Allow me to present my research for you. This is breaking news you will not hear anywhere else, and this is how they did it. In 2022, the PAC American Resolve was formed. 3 others by the same name would deceitfully also be created, one with a comma, one without a comma, and that would make it very hard to trace. Now, don't get scared of the names of the numbers. I'm going to make it easy. 2022 American Resolve I told you about, that is treasured by Kevin Brockhammer. This is a PAC. So a PAC cannot give to, say, just like any nonprofit, but it can give to a 527. American Resolve, the PAC couldn't give to a nonprofit. It has to give to a 527, which is like a hybrid between a PAC and a nonprofit. So this 527 group is formed by Stacey Good. Kevin Brockhammer, the one from the PAC, diverts just over $231,000 to the new 527 group headed by Stacey Good. Remember, Stacey Good and Kevin Brockhammer also exchanged administrative roles on her campaign. So they're involved in her campaign. They're involved in their PACs. They are not separate like they ought to be. There are 2 major donors that come in at this point. Those people are Joel Broussard and David Flecka. And as you'll see, the expenditures in and out, 1.1 million, 1.1 million. This will be important in a minute. Rose Garden Lane in Virginia that could have possibly existed at the time Madison Shaheen claims to have been paid by American Resolve. See some groups here where in expenditures like Aventine Group, Strategy Group, and Strategic Media Placements. What everybody's missing is that Strategic Media Placements Inc. is at the very top. They all belong to the same address and are subsidiaries of each other and work together. So this scheme, of course, is before Noem as DHS Secretary. What do all of these have in common, right? This strategy group endpoint. At the same time, taxpayer funds, as she was governor, are also ending up at one endpoint, all in Ohio. So adding in the other entities, we have Strategic Media Placement Inc., Strategy Group, which we know about, and Go West Media, Brick Editorial, all at this address, all taking funds from different sources. When it comes to Broussard and Flecka, they both have ties, one to Louisiana and one to Ohio. This is likely where Madison Shaheen is listed as the one that connects the donors. So we also know that she is getting payment through this, even though they failed to report this on tax documents. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that Shaheen came from the Republican Party of Ohio. Who is the custodian of records? It's Kevin Brockhammer. This was all set up so long ago, and the ties are so much deeper than other reporters are reporting. But here's the thing, and it's hidden pretty well. There's another business registered to 5669 Stagers Drive in Delaware, Ohio, all shared with Ben Yoho and Corey Lewandowski, and that is the Reed Foundation. It's allegedly a nonprofit for people that have opioid addiction throughout Ohio. Who is the board member there? David Flecka, which proves even more how circular this entire network is. So we not only have these PACs paying into this media conglomerate in Ohio, we now have this nonprofit most people don't know about, Flecka, also becoming one of the biggest contributors here, before funds from there end up at American Resolve Policy Fund. It gets worse because Stacey Good, who's coordinating all of this from Virginia, has now had 4 dark money groups and corporations incorporated in Delaware registered to her home address in Virginia funnel millions and millions through these PACs, but they all basically end up at one endpoint, and that's FlexPoint Media. And if you don't think that that is in the loop of Corey Lewandowski, Strategy Group, and Ben Yoho, just know that the CEO of Strategic Media Placements Inc., the one that oversees it all, decides that he wants a bigger cut of the pie. In 2017, he decides that he is going to start FlexPoint Media. Unlike Strategic Media Placement Inc., he registers it to a home in New Albany, Ohio. But you don't see any activity this year. However, according to a 990 that I obtained from the year 2017, I have identified among the first, if not the very first transaction to ever go to FlexPoint Media. And it's just, in a sum just over $140,000 from the Congressional Leadership Fund. The person that was the president and treasurer is also Stacey Good, who has been orchestrating all of these deals all along, connecting them absolutely since at least the year 2017. But of course, Barron doesn't stop them. Him and his partner, Timothy Cameron, decide that in 2021, they're also going to start something called FlexPoint Campaigns. In 2023, they decide that they're going to open Barrel Placements Inc. And I'm just going to give you a breakdown of the funds that they have received in the 2024 cycle alone. So recall, we got our strategy group, our Go West, Flex Point campaigns and barrels. And then there's this weird one, Aventine, which is associated with strategic media placement, but it is registered to a home in Hudson. The vast majority of funding that went to Aventine Group, over $200,000, came from one of Kristi Noem's PAC. Her last payment was as late as October. But according to records from the Secretary of State, his business license ended in September. I asked him why on Threads. He did not respond. Aventine Group, over $230,000. Flex Point Media, nearly $300 million. Flex Point Campaigns, nearly $7 million. Barrel Placements, just over $21 million. They are also responsible, this WinRed network, for assigning government contracts. It wasn't the first transaction that went to her cronies. No, it actually occurred on January 17, 2024 in this administration, when Rapid Deployment Inc. in Alabama gives $100,000 to Dare to Defend Our Rights, which of course is also treasured by Kevin Brockhammer. Remember, Stacey Good and Kevin Brockhammer are overseeing basically this entire operation. He would then get a multi-million-dollar contract with HHS as one of the very first contracts during this administration. Then there's Luke Lindbergh to demonstrate how deep this goes. Luke Lindbergh is John Thune's son-in-law. In 2023, at the same time Noem was getting all of that COVID money and sending it straight into Lewandowski and Ben Yoho's pocket, knowing eventually she would be the DHS secretary, she also took $1.6 million and gave it to Luke Lindbergh, John Thune's son-in-law, so that he could start the South Dakota Trade nonprofit. What experience did he have and what did he accomplish? Nobody knows, but that's what they do. They set up these entities to be official. And then what has happened since Trump has come into office? Luke Lindbergh becomes appointed to the Undersecretary for the Department of Agriculture and Foreign Ag Trade. What experience does he have in agriculture, science, and foreign trade? None. And it isn't like this went unnoticed, because John Thune himself voted to approve his appointment in a huge ethics violation that, of course, nobody's doing anything about now. The point is that these chips were put into place specifically after WinRed was established in 2016-2017. And it all got in motion on one fishing trip, which included 40 Republicans, which included Donald Trump Jr., Corey Lewandowski, Kristi Noem, Charlie Kirk on Foster Friese's boat. And this is the ramifications. Kristi Noem will not stay in this office. She is not sophisticated enough, and I can tell prosecutors are getting close enough on a trail of enough of these people. My goal would be to have her out by next year, leave her in 2025. But remember, whenever she does go, whenever the rift within the women in this administration happens, she will be replaced with somebody much more methodical and intelligent. And we're going to have to do this again, because the point is we have to undermine and dismantle this entire system of corruption that they have built. And it is so much more vast than any short little publication can put out there. And for the love of God, people, vote. This should be the biggest example of why. They put people that are unintelligent, little puppets, into the smallest offices they can, and this is what they grow into. 216 votes is all Kristi Noem won by in a four-way election in her first race. Imagine what the world would look like if more people turned out that day.